have been finding a whole bunch of amazing loot on the Outer Worlds too, and I love it because that's what's really fun about this game. Finding loot and loot that actually makes sense for the builds or things that you're crafting and things that you're doing. In this video I'm going to show you just a couple of legendary stuff that I have been finding throughout my playthrough. We're of course going to be building things based on all of those things right in here, but yeah, let's just quickly go through some amazing, really amazing stuff that I found so far that you guys should be looking for every single type of build. There's going to be like a build crafting theory for each one of these items that you have right in here. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with this amazing sniper helmet. It has a really cool design, but what's really cool about it is the actual legendary trait that it has. It has also a utility slot, so that you can add something extra, something else to your character based on the utility modification that you would have on the helmet, and basically gives you weak spot damage. Natively, this would be like 40% more weak spot damage, provided that you're building a sniper. More specifically, a stealth sniper or a stealth archer, which is basically a staple in any Obsidian or Bethesda game right now. Anyways, it has the range scanner, which basically gives you 30% more damage. That is damage, it suffers from fall of damage, and remember that the fall of damage is going to be determined as well based on your build. There are things that you can get into your character traits and your stats to decrease the actual fall of damage of your character, but essentially that is like for building a sniper rifle character. And let's talk about how to get this guy, because it is kind of tricky. You are required to get into this location right in here on the first area of the game. And ideally, first, you're not going to be able to come in here because this is going to be locked and you're not going to be able to get this thing up unless you have engineering. If you have engineering, then yeah, you might, but why would we want to have engineering if we're going to be building a, as you can see, this is disabled. So if you're not an engineer, then you're going to have to go all the way through here and then follow this path until you reach this. You have to go, this is like the first starting town area. You have to go all the way through this ridge and mountains and go all the way through here and follow this path until you reach this area right in here. And here there's like a kind of funny introduction to one of the game mechanics, which is double jumping. I do not want to spoil anything for you, but it has to do with this guy right in here. It's going to be funny business. You basically have to rescue these guys that are standing right there, and they're going to be on a platform that they can't come down. They're going to give you the boots, and you essentially just have to do a little bit of platforming to get up there and rescue them. And yeah, you basically have to do some really funny platforming with all of these guys right in here. This is the path that you would have to follow. Eventually, once you have managed to get them down from where they need to be down there, they are going to give you the quest rewards, which is going to be this amazing helmet. Moving on as well with the stealth archer kind of scenario, we have the escape suit, which is this really cool armor that you have right in here. What I like about this guy is that essentially it also has more mods that you can add into it. It has the cut materials, which basically you have plus 30% damage resistance, and that is flat percent damage resistance. But every time that you receive damage, you lose 5% of that damage resistance, and that resets back on every single fight. So you essentially, this is amazing because you're a stealth archer, you shouldn't be suffering damage, but if you receive damage, then you're natively going to have that flat 30%, and that is going to work in a synergy with the escape protocol right in here, which if the wearer drops below 30% health, a smoke bomb is dispensed at their location. This has a 10 minutes cooldown, and it is reduced on your sneak skill, and this is an armor that you should be using with your sneak skill, because at the end of the day the stealth archer should always be that synergy between sneak and distance and being far away from the enemy. Since you're squishy, as you can see right in here, we can receive a whole bunch of damage. So essentially what this does is that we don't have engineering, like I mentioned before. You receive lots of damage. If the enemy deals enough damage to you, then it is going to drop a smoke bomb that it is going to make you invincible. It is a very short period of time, but as you can see right in here, if you wait for a little while, since the enemy has lost sight of you for just a second, it forces for them to eventually start looking for you faster, because they don't know your last known location, and it is more difficult for them to pinpoint you. So if you have high sneak skill, then they're going to start looking for you because they lost sight of you whenever you drop that bomb. And since we're very squishy, this is in our best interest to have right in here. So the location for the armor, it's just right here. So you open them up, and you have to go all the way right in here, which is a little south from this major town that you have right in here. And there's a bit of fighting. There's a couple of elite enemies that you are going to have to fight right in here. But once you have done with that, there's a little bit of a side quest with an NPC that you are going to find right in here. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Like I mentioned, just follow the steps. As a matter of fact, you don't have to actually travel far away from here or do much stuff. Just follow the instructions that this guy has for you, and once you complete his quest, he's going to require for some of stuff that you're going to deliver through this little thing right in here. This is going to be closed, but yeah, this armor is going to be a quest reward from this guy. Then we have one of my personal favorites, and the only thing that I don't like about this is that I don't have a build character for this, but there's some really cool theory crafting for this guy right in here. We have the Thunderstruck, and basically the legendary mod that it has is the Crash of Thunder. The heavy attacks with this weapon will send forward a thunderous projectile to shock foes, and that it is not going to be just like some basic damage. No, it is going to be heavy damage, and if you actually use this shotgun face on the enemy, it's double the damage that you're dealing to them on top of the already amazing damage that this thing deals. The design on this thing, it's amazing, and you can see that it has this engravings on the handles right in here. If you charge the heavy attacks, it actually does have a cool animation for this guy right in here. It does not have any kind of cooldown. It's always going to be that. The only thing that you have to have in mind is that it is going to have to be heavy attacks. And like I mentioned, as you can see right in here, this guy hits like a truck. And have in mind that my character has nothing into melee damage. So theory crafting for building for this guy, if you want to build a melee yoinker poinker kind of character, then essentially you would just do engineering, use heavy armor. That would increase the engineering, because engineering is essentially what it is going to give you more overall defense, make you more tankier. It also increase your melee damage, and there you have just a perfect boink build. Now, to get this is a little trickier. It is a little bit more deep into the first act of the game. So the first act of the game requires for you to do a whole bunch of favors, either here or here or here. Just follow the main quest lines of the towns, because this path right in here is going to be blocked. However, not necessarily. If you level up a little bit, you can just brute force your way through here, or you're just sneak past your way through that. It really is not that big of an issue. At the end of the day, you're essentially eventually going to come into this place. However, I do advise for you, before coming into the Sky Kata A102, you actually level up a little bit, because inside this tower you will find some enemies that there's event triggers that would not allow. For example, if you are like me, a stealth archer, that is not going to work in here, because that is a triggered event that the game has many of them that I don't really like. But anyways, I digress. Just make sure that you have very good weapons, because there's a couple of a little bit of a fights right in here. This is a tower that you're going to have to climb, and this is where you're going to get the final reward, or like it's kind of like a offside quest line that no one really sends you here, and the hammer is actually quite missable. It's going to be embedded right in here, so you just have to retrieve it, and that's it. And then last but not least, we have the emergency stop, which is a rifle that has stuff that you would be able to add, like sights or maybe a silencer, things like that. But the legendary trait right in here on this guy is the big red button. It gives you plus 5% critical hit chance, but also the critical hits, they stun the auto mechanics enemies that you have out in the game. It has 120 seconds cooldown, but that's decreased with your hack skill. Now, I don't think this is as amazing. It has some mild AoE damage, so if the enemies are like close together, it can do very, very good damage. And yeah, dealing more damage to the automechs and having the chance to stun them based on your hacking skill, it's actually quite amazing, because if we take a look at the hacking, this is going to increase the damage that you do to automechs, but they're also very susceptible to the type of damage that this rifle has, which is electric shock damage. So a type of build that you would be having, like theory crafting, would be hack, guns, and also science, because science is going to give you more stacks of the non-physical damage of the type side effects, and this deals electric damage. The cool side about this is that the electric damage actually does, it's like a side debuff, that it is going to be effective not only with mechanical type of enemies, but it's also going to be true with anyone, as you can see right in here. The damage is pretty amazing, and if you're like role-playing in a kind of like a nerdy kind of character, just go with guns, hack, and science, and you're all set. Like, this could be like your weapon throughout the entirety of the game. This also comes from a side quest as well. So you open the map, and this is actually a location that you are going to be required to come for the main quest. There's some side content or side stuff that it is going to... It's amazing, because at the end of the day, this is what I love the most of CDN 4. There's some choices and decisions and concessions and things that are going to alter your decisions are going to somewhat alter the outcome of the first region of the game. But at the end of the day, you are going to have to be required to come and talk to an NPC that you are going to find right in here. This NPC can help you with the main quest, but also this is like something that not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to complete this thing right in here. And it's this guy. He's going to give you a quest that is going to also take you down here. You're going to do a little bit of dabbling right in here. Come back to this guy, and yeah, it's going to be a quest reward. And just like that, you have stuff for melee type of characters, for stealth archers, for ranged characters, for nerd type of characters, the ones that are going to be using engineering, and also the ones that are going to be using hacking and science and what have you. There's amazing stuff that you can find on the first act of the game, and this stuff that can carry you through the rest of the game if you want to, if you so desire, want to roleplay as that character. That is very cool that you can find. I really like the layout on how the actual items work in this game. But anyways, if you like the content, like and super appreciate it. Nostal you today, you're gorgeous and beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.